Honestly, mushrooms. r/AskReddit. Formerly suicidal people of Reddit. How did things change? Serious. Objectively, most of my life has actually gotten worse. However, proper medication, managed by a psychiatrist, and regular therapy have done wonders. I still have some heavy depressive episodes and anxiety attacks, but I no longer go straight to the only way out is death, which is a big deal. Used to be I didn't go a day without wanting to die. Now it's rare for me to feel that way at all. Never an easy thing to talk about, but hey, it's anonymous. The turning point was when one of the few people that I considered family commit suicide. He left a note that said something along the lines of why bother, who wants this note anyways? And like, him thinking that no one would care were some of the same thoughts I was having, but the general vibe in my small group changed drastically. It was basically relishing that even if it was only one or two people, people will miss those who pass. And no one should have to deal with something as terrible as the feeling of burying someone you've known and spent time with so many years, who died thinking no one cares. It's a feeling I would never wish on any living thing. It just sucks. If anyone is feeling this, PM me. I'll always talk to people who are considering this, because no should have to suffer through this alone. Or whatever. Thanks for sharing. For me it's actually the complete opposite. When I think about it, I'm not committing suicide because I know people around me would be distraught, even though it would, personally, be a relief. I'm just not suicidal right now. In a few months I'm sure I will be again. And then I won't be. And then I will. I think with mental illness and suicidal thoughts/ideations, it's really important to remember that it isn't always you. It isn't always you that genuinely wants to. Sometimes it's just that thing inside your head saying it's easier to not be alive. The best thing you can do is try to set up a life for yourself that you, in your right mind, truly believe is worth living. Sometimes sheer willpower is the only reason you don't kill yourself. Sometimes you're just too depressed to have the energy to do it. Suicidal thoughts are a poison, and if you're experiencing them, try to vocalize it to people that care about you. They can't make it go away, but they can make you feel less alone. This is so accurate. I just got a new job that allows me a lot of freedom and things are looking up, but I'm not naive anymore, and I know to be on the lookout for signs that my mental health will turn again. I've had moments in my past where I thought, great, I've made it to the other side. It's over now. But that's never really the case. Mental health takes work. I dropped the toxic, enabling people in my life and the people who fed into my depression. I lost a friend to suicide after we made a deal to stick around for each other. Unfortunately, he couldn't deal, but I decided to hold up my end for him. I later found my purpose in search and rescue and training a canine. I've met a lot of people who have also faced a lot of what I've gone through, which provides an ever strengthening support network. Not to mention I've proven to myself and others that I can do far more than we thought I'd be capable of. I now have 13 certifications for SAR, training a canine, have a job I love, have a stable and functioning relationship and a new outlook. I still wrestle with my depression, but it's been a while since it has had me pinned. I was depressed and didn't leave the house for 3 years, so I was sorta killing myself with food. I formed a bond with my cat and realized if I died, who would care for him like I did? So I started losing weight and left the house. Now I study opera, also just wrote one. Cat passed last year, but will always be my hero and one true love of my life. I'm sorry to hear your cat passed. I totally get this. Sometimes I wonder who looks out for who more when it comes to my kitty. She makes me feel unconditionally loved and accepts my love unconditionally. She keeps me sane in the darkest times. I built my life up to a point where it was harder to feel down on myself, at least for very long. It doesn't go away, you know. We all have those crappy things that happen in our lives, like when a relative dies and those thoughts come back. Once you've seriously considered it, all it takes is for that next thing to happen to bring up, if I had just killed myself back then, I wouldn't have to hurt now. But that said, when you've built yourself up, it is much easier to push those thoughts away because you can see how valuable your life is to you. If I had just killed myself back then, I wouldn't have to hurt now. I like to turn this thought on its head. If I didn't kill myself then, why would I do so now? Or I made it through that, so I can make it through this, too. But this probably works best if you can guarantee the worst days of your life are behind you, and I know that's not true of everyone's situation. I sat and wrote my goodbye note, cried the whole time, had my pistol on my lap. Writing it I realized just how much I had, and I won't lose it. This is a big reason I'm glad I live in a country where access to guns isn't simple. If it was, I'm not 100% sure I'd be here. Not certain I wouldn't be either though. Honestly, mushrooms. I took some with a group of friends while camping in the middle of nowhere. Ended up wandering through a forest by myself for an hour and then along sit in a hammock over a river. I still don't know everything I thought about, but when I came home I was just a happier person. Edit. I would like to clarify, mushrooms didn't just magically, pun intended, fix my problems, but it gave me an incredible new mindset. I wanted to have a better attitude, so I just kinda did. Please don't self-medicate. See a doctor if you're feeling depressed or suicidal. Slowly, with ups and downs. Eventually the downs weren't so down, and the ups weren't too up. I still experience highs and lows, but I recognize the flow and enjoy the ride. My life has measurably gotten better, but my brain is like a rubber band that's been stretched too far too often. I'm not currently under the same stress that I was before, but can't forget those thoughts, and having been in that mindset before, I'm just changed. I feel stretched out and unable to return to the carefree life I had before my deep bouts of depression. The difference now is that I really have no strong impulse to do it. There are too many consequences for the people I care about. And I realize that my desire to just basically disappear is a knee-jerk reaction to challenges in my life that I'm actually very equipped to deal with. I need to find a way to reframe the way I see the world. Because the dark thoughts are just a vestigial thing from a life I lived a decade or more ago. Who I have become is different, stronger, smarter, more realistic. But I can't forget who I used to be, and it haunts me. I realized I wasn't actually alone, as cliche as that sounds. Imagining how my family and friends would react if they found me dead was more heartbreaking than the other shit going on. Especially my grandma. She's getting older and I want the rest of her life to be stress-free, happy, painless and overall enjoyable. Also, surrounding myself with people who make me laugh and bring me up instead of making me feel bad about myself. That one especially helped with self-esteem and how I acted around people. Instead of saying I hate people, I just smile and tell myself they aren't so bad. Big difference. Best wishes to those who are still struggling. You're not alone. I couldn't get a job, and over a period I got more and more depressed. I felt I was a burden to others and didn't want to be around anymore. For about 8 months I stopped paying bills and just let everything slide. I took put loans to cover the occasional eviction notice and keep a working phone and power. But I just let my personal economy go to shit. I didn't think I'd be around to deal with it. For a few months I had been stocking painkillers and were planning on killing myself the day before I was going to be kicked out of my apartment. I didn't want my body to rot and make my patents deal with that too. I got the date I was supposed to be out and the date of the inspection mixed up. And the day I had planned to kill myself there were a police officer, a locksmith and few people from the company that owned the building. I couldn't sew it and had to call my parents for help. The moment my mom picked up I broke down and told her everything. I live 3 halls away. She dropped everything and stood at my doorstep 2.5 hours later. She helped me pack up a few things and took me home, got me help, and did everything in her power to make me better. Today I have a job I love. I'm surrounded by people who care about me and I love my life right now, and I am currently dating a girl I think could be it. 2 years ago I didn't kill myself because of a date mix-up. Today I love my life. Hang in there, people. So, my university had a suicide bridge that I walked across basically every night at like 12:30 AM to get back to my apartment from work. During my junior year I started wondering what it would be like to jump off, wondering whether it was high enough to kill me on impact or if I'd have to drown. trying to figure out whether I wanted to tell someone beforehand or leave a note in my stuff on the bridge or just go without telling anyone. It was all super morbid, and it was not doing my mental health any favors to be repeating those same thoughts night after night. At that point I wasn't mentally healthy enough to even see therapy or whatever as an option. The first step, at least for me, was finding a way to break the pattern of suicidal thought. I'd become so used to walking home every night and going over how easy it would be to just jump that I genuinely think that anything cold triggered me to just do it. I was kind of scaring myself, so I decided to take the bus rather than walk home, which was a pain in the ass that involved waiting for half an hour until the bus showed up, but it broke the pattern. Once I stopped basically getting an opportunity to go over those thoughts every day on schedule, I was able to think a little more clearly. I was able to get up the willpower or the nerve or whatever to go to therapy, which led to me getting a diagnosis and all that fun stuff. So I guess the best advice I can give is, if you find suicidal thoughts coming in certain circumstances or situations, just do your best to make a change that'll circumvent them, because I know from experience that the process of thinking about all that was so draining that I couldn't even think about getting out of it entirely until I had done what I could to stop being triggered into them all the time. Please subscribe and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button and you'll grow better like this pup. Also, please hit the bell icon and leave a comment down below. Thank you so much for watching, and little by little your problems will go away.